Hello everyone, Dan here for the Next Ish podcast. On today's video, we're doing a review for Fast X. This is a 2023 film rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 21 minutes. As of this recording, we have a Rotten Tomato score of 55% of the critics, audience score for 84%. This movie is directed by Louis Leterrier and written by Dan Massot and Justin Lin. In this film, over many missions and against impossible odds, Dom Toretto and his family have outsmarted, outnerved, and outdriven every foe in their path. Now they confront the most lethal opponent they've ever faced, a terrifying threat emerging from the shadows of his past, who is fueled by blood revenge, and who is determined to shatter this family and destroy everything and everyone that Dom loves forever. First of all, pretty intense premise to the description. So this will be non-spoiler review. I've had a little bit of time to think about the movie. First of all, I think as far as the length, I think it's great. I think we've become a little bit oversaturated with films that are just uh, too long for no reason. But I think this film really utilizes a lot of its time very efficiently. Not everything. I think there's still a few sequences where it really feels like the bit goes on a bit too long, but it's really nothing to do with the action sequences. I think there's some other sequences in between, because the film tries to bring in a little bit of drama, a little bit of comedy, really everything. This movie wants to do everything, and I think overall it does a lot of it very well. So let's see. I think one of the ways I'll talk about this film is just kind of by going through the cast. So we have Vin Diesel as Dominic Toretto, Michelle Rodriguez as Letty, Jason Statham as Shaw, Jordana Brewster as Mia, Tyrese Gibson as Roman, Ludacris as Tej, Nathalie Emmanuel as Ramsey, Charlize Theron as Cypher, John Cena as Jacob, Song Kang as Han, Helen Mirren as Queenie, Brie Larson, a new character as Tess, Scott Eastwood as Little Nobody, Jason Momoa, a new character as Dante, Alan Rickson, a new character as Ames, Daniela Melchior, also a new character as Isabel, and Leo Abello Perry, he's Little Brian, so not really a new character, just a new actor portraying that role, and introducing the great Rita Moreno as Abuelita. Yeah, I mean, let's start from the top. Really, this movie definitely doubles down on the concept of bringing in this amazing, just full cast and giving them all a lot of time to do whatever they need to do. Uh, you know, of course, this is all led by Vin Diesel and his big adventure, but his confrontation with the antagonist, who's portrayed by Jason Momoa in this case, who, let me tell you, I think he probably steals the show for me. Like, he is the star of the movie. His portrayal is fantastic, over the top. Everything you've seen in the trailer is just a little taste of what Momoa is bringing to this role, and I really appreciate a little bit of a change of pace. It feels like all the villains that we keep meeting in these films, they're great, but they're also very tactical. They're not whereas Momoa's approach is a little bit more unhinged. So it was a nice contrast, a nice kind of reboot to this whole, final arc of the saga. Um, as far as standouts, it's really cool to see Rita Moreno in these films. Also Helen Mirren as well. They don't play as big a part in all the story, but it's also just the fact that we're getting, such talent like them in a film like this. Let's talk about some of the new people in the film. Brie Larson, Tess, just she really brings it. I think she really fits well into this world and the role that she's playing. And I really enjoyed everything that she did. There's some really cool stuff, some really fun interactions with other characters. So great stuff from Brie Larson. Also, Alan Richson. Oh my goodness, he's so good in his role as well. Uh, you know, he he really just looks to be one thing, and then over the role of the movie, his performance and his character just kind of really develops into what it will ultimately become for the series, and it's really fun to see. And he's great. I love him in Jack Reacher. I think that's a great show. So it's really fun to have these new characters come into the film. Also, Little Brian, I think he performed admirably for such a large role, such an important role, really, because now he's a big catalyst. We've never really had any kid performers be part of the family and the crew, but in this movie, like there's really a lot with him. Definitely a linchpin in this film. So really good to see that. Um, there are some roles that are, and I won't go into which characters. There's some roles. I mean, there's really not enough time for everyone. Some characters get pushed off a little bit to the side, or they get split up into their own little missions in the worlds, which I think makes a lot of sense, right? I think this franchise really has mastered the art of going back and forth and following different characters through different storylines in different locations. It's a lot to balance, but it also makes for a non-stop ride from the beginning to end, right? We're following characters trying to catch up with what they're doing, and as things kind of start happening, and the antagonist really puts everything into motion. Um, these characters don't have a moment to breathe, which is really interesting to see. Like I mentioned earlier, the pace of this film is really nonstop. There's probably two sequences I would take out or maybe shorten a little bit because I don't think they add much to the film. But if you're going into this movie like not really caring much about how much time you're spending in there, I think they're fine. I understand why they were kept in the movie. Um, John Cena is probably one of my favorite performances in the movie. He just really has such a wide range of like characters that he can portray, right? He's definitely the action man. He's definitely got that physical type, but he's also a humorous guy. Like his role has evolved so much since last time we saw him, with everything that happened in the last movie. So yeah, let's see. Michelle Rodriguez, I think, also has a pretty stellar role. I won't go too much into it because I think that would might lead to spoilers. But this movie really revolves around Vin Diesel and Dominic Toretto's character, and Vin just at this point in these films, he's just so much larger than life. His character is such an exaggeration of what we met when this franchise started, but I think they've done it in such a fun way that it's not even something I would comment negatively about. So really fun performances. There's a few other things, but like I said, every character really gets a moment. Especially Roman. Roman gets a lot of screen time and also a lot of character growth, which is really interesting. So yeah, very cool. So let's talk about some other aspects. This movie has some great needle drops. I think these films have always captured, and they know that music is a big part of the culture of why people enjoy these films. We do get a little bit of those throwback shots to, with party people hanging out, low shots of like people dancing around, girls in short skirts, all this stuff that kind of really kicked off with a lot of this franchise, right? I think it's what initially made it successful, and then it evolved, but it always kind of comes back to some of that. But I think it's overall, very fitting to the franchise. There's so many action pieces, so many action sets. Like they really take you from one place to the other nonstop. Whether it's a larger thing with cars, hand to hand combat, like everything is just expertly done. They've managed to make this into just like an art form that they have down. Like it's a choreographed dance that they've known so well because they know all the steps. Um, let's see. We get some really cool and exotic locations, which is very interesting that we get to see so much of the world really in a film like this. So yeah, the stunts are big screen fabulous, just great locations, all that stuff. But overall, Fast X just really doubles down on everything all the longtime fans have come to know and love about the franchise. So if you're somebody who hasn't been sold on the franchise at this point, like I don't think this movie's gonna win you over because it's really everything more dialed up to the next level. So but I, as a fan of the franchise, really enjoy this. I'm still thinking about where this ranks overall in the Fast Saga films. And with the announcements that the the last few films will actually be a trilogy. I think that's going to be really interesting. I would say this movie definitely plays with that in mind. So they're playing the long game here. So as I mentioned in a few other videos, there is one end credit scene. You want to stick around for that because I think it'll be very important going forward. And yeah, overall, this is just a nonstop amazing adrenaline ride. So if you've seen this film, let me know what you think about it down in the comments. Stay tuned. We have another video coming up. It'll be more spoilery with like 5 things that this movie revealed. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.